I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared.
First, you're gonna tell me about this science stuff.
Sorry about that. What is a scientist?
You caught me like I'm experimenting with
Science!
It's like magic with electricity.
I know that. I'm not stupid. I'm smarter than you.
The smartest scientists in the entire world all agree
Science is a liar sometimes.
Seriously, this could not seem less scientific.
Those idiots don't know anything about science.
It's science.
I believe it's pronounced science.
This is the least scientific thing I've ever seen.
So I'm just experimenting with them.
You be quiet!
Thank you, scientist.
Very special, under the guise of science in the morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
I don't know if we should be shooting for like daytime talk show, morning show energy. You know, like we're gonna be talking about time travel today, and then after that, Fred's gonna come in and show us how he makes his own Swiss cheese omelet, or some bullshit like that.
Right. Fido, the wonder
yeah.
dog that can, that sings. Watch him skateboard.
Yeah, this dog can skateboard and watch him bark happy birthday.
That cornball shit.
Either that or like hacky morning radio.
We need sound effects for that.
Yeah. Burr, burr.
Clown horn and a whoopee cushion.
Yeah. I guess.
Well, hold on now. You can't say that.
Yeah. Oh, come on. There could be kids listening right now. This is boring. Shut up.
Yeah. Worst.
Stupid, shitty old medium nobody likes. But yeah, there's way more photons out than there normally are when we record this, aren't there?
There are, yeah. I can actually see colors outside instead of just black.
And if I get rid of the light a little bit right there for a second. Oh, no, maybe not. All right.
Yeah, you are totally eclipsed.
Yeah.
Total eclipse of the Charles.
But yeah, I thought I saw a little bit of light coming in.
But I'm back in the shadows. In the darkness.
Born in it, molded by it.
I didn't realize how much I liked the line when he's beating him up in whatever the hell that prison thing is when he's beating.
I was wondering which would break first. Your spirit or your body?
Like every line that was written for him was already it's well written dialogue. I think, for him, like everything he says is just on brand, on point.
That sounds like you say it in a different voice, and that could be a line in a porn.
Very aggressive one at that.
Yeah. One of the ones that afterwards you're like, what did I do?
Yeah. I don't feel right. Maybe not going to look at my phone for the next couple days. Hope this didn't awaken something in me.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't what I like now.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on taking that road. Just
yeah. Oh man! And what's fun about this is if it's awful, then it's like, all right, well then it's just awful. But if it's great, it's like, God damn it! Now we got to figure out how to. Now we got to figure out how to coordinate this.
Yeah.
This isn't fucking sustainable. Unless you start going to the Patreon, folks, and start giving us money.
Yeah. Then we can quit our regular jobs and just make our money off you.
Yeah.
I never understood how that would, like, I guess when you get popular enough and it's strangers, but like for our listeners, it's like, hey, I know I owe you money, but can you put some on Patreon so that
This is different. No. See, we're an LLC,
Right.
so
This isn't a personal account.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with it. This is business. This isn't personal.
Right.
I mean, I know I owe you like 4 or 5 cheeseburgers still, but this is for the show. This is different money.
Right.
So
that's the friend. This is the podcaster.
yeah, this is Charles, the character on the podcast,
Right.
Under the Guise of Science.
He looks and sounds and acts a lot like regular Charles, but it's not. We have different bank accounts.
I heard the other guy is in a credit union. Like, he's not even in a bank.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. So you're making an investment. You're not even. Yeah.
By investing in our podcast, you're making a sound investment. Yeah.
Two things, I guess. Number one, I think he said Under the Guise of Science, and I think we've said Chris and Charlie. Just want to make sure that we hammer that home. That's us.
Right,
that's
good.
who we are. That's our
Those
show.
are the things.
Yeah. I keep noticing that too. Like I just like talking to you, so I forget that.
Me too.
Yeah. And number two, before we go any further, hit the 5-star button. Just give us 5 stars. We're a 5-star podcast, and it takes a second, please, and thank you.
We are 5-star men, and this is our 5-star podcast. This is not a starter podcast. This is a finisher podcast.
Yes. I'm peeking right now. I'm peeking all over your face.
My rage knows no bounds.
I'm a golden god.
Dennis on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, leaning into that, when they really leaned into that character of just make him as, like, not just the sociopath, like, I mean, that too, but just that he just gets so insane and just yells shit like you'd hear from a fucking Shakespeare play. Oh, that's it. I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds. Yelling at the lady in the hospital if they don't get DTV in the room.
Yeah. So my sister can watch her stories.
My rage will have some, like, the gust of 1,000 winds. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we got some listener feedback.
Yeah.
We got some listener feedback finally. So we're gonna start off the program with that. I think that'll be fun. These were sourced from our various socials and stuff. Each of us has grabbed a couple, which we have decided to alternate reading in advance.
I have one, so you get to go twice at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 3.
Okay.
I grabbed 3 of them. Alrighty. Twitter @diarrhea salesman on Twitter writes, "Hey guys, I've definitely heard worse, so that's something. A few episodes back, Charlie mentioned that all of your facts should be taken with a bit of a grain of salt as you, quote, had a contest to see who could say diarrhea the most times in a minute. But unless I missed it, I heard no such thing on any of the previous episodes. And as someone who clearly enjoys all things diarrhea, I ask, what gives?" All right, I don't know if we'll do a minute. I'll do 15 seconds.
Okay.
Like, I'll set a timer on my phone right now. And then you go, and then I'll do it again, and we can rule this out once and for all. And the winner gets their Moon Contest song played.
Okay.
Any reason to sneak it in is a good reason, right?
Right.
Right. I could go first, or you could go first. You tell me.
I guess you go first, so I understand what we're doing.
Okay, I'm going to try to say the word diarrhea as many times in 15 seconds as possible.
Okay.
And you keep track.
Okay.
For me, you keep count because I am just going to be trying to say it and hitting stop on the clock. All right.
Okay.
And let me get a couple good diarrhea
Work that
breaths.
diaphragm. Work the diaphragm for diarrhea.
Diaphragms for diarrhea. I love that.
It's a good charity.
It is. It's very specific. All right, here we go. And diarrhea.
I have 36.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that was good.
Fucking setting the bar early.
Yeah.
Fucking shit. All right. Oof, man. I feel like I should be, hands up on the sides of the chest. Oof, man. All righty. Right. You tell me when you're ready. I will hit start on the start of you saying the word diarrhea. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. And diarrhea. I already got tongue-tied. Diarrhea.
All right, full start.
Yeah.
Full start.
No, I tripped over the hurdle and you soared across the finish line. Fair is fair.
All right. Cool.
Hit it.
Hit the fucking music.
Charles won this week's contest. Of us, he did the best. Don't swim till you digest. It's the moon contest. You're bucking up the wrong moon, pal.
Man, I'm definitely gonna sample me saying diarrhea and use it for something.
36 times. That's impressive because
that's more than twice a minute.
Right. Yeah. I'm not known for my enunciation anyway, so trying to do such a word, it's not gonna roll off the tongue.
I am known for my insane obsession with singular words at a time. So.
I've always one behind your back. We all say that, Charlie, he can enunciate like a mother.
I'll bet you don't. All righty. You're up.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want me to go another one. I can go another one.
No, I'll come. So mine, I was looking at my phone. I don't need that. So mine is more... I don't have the details except for the name. Also from Twitter DM at Shortbussin. That's SHAWT Bussin.
Ooh.
Yeah. Writes in to tell us that, guys, the breathing scorpion argument. So on average, they come in around a foot or just under a foot, 11 inches.
Okay.
But the biggest specimen they found, it was a partial specimen, and it's estimated to be about 28 inches in full should they find the rest. So we were both right with the measurements. Mine was just the one extreme case, the biggest potential possible. So the other ones are more the average.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
That's cool. Also, I like if we can add this to the list of science terms that we're going to use as insults. Like, this motherfucker's a partial specimen at best. This partial specimen.
Yeah. This incomplete specimen.
And I'm glad you brought them back up. Don't all scorpions breathe anyway? Like,
Yeah, we kind of, I guess, just took that for granted. But yeah, no, they all... I looked up why is it named that. I didn't see a reason. And I guess the Pulmonoscorpius, or whatever the full name is, means breathing or lung scorpion. But But I also saw that there were older scorpions, like some of the first ones that came to land that were amphibious, basically, that they could do both land and water.
Okay.
So maybe this was like the first one to have book lungs, is what the scorpions even today have. It's just a different shape of a lung instead of like ours. It's
another good name.
The
Hey,
book
book lungs. What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
But that they were all right. So that they were like underwater breathing ish versus like actual breathing air. Okay.
Right. Yeah. These were big terrestrial only guys. And that's my guess. I didn't find any evidence to say why it was named this. But yes, all scorpions breathe.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, hope that's not too controversial to
All
take.
scorpions breathe. Alrighty. On Facebook, someone by what I'm assuming is the name Ryan Curtin, but they wrote it last name, comma first name, like in a phone book. So
okay.
Curtin Ryan. Anyway,
interesting. Yeah.
Curtin Ryan, right? Hey guys, you take an awful lot of shots at the city of Philadelphia. What gives? Is it normal New York Philly rage, or is there something extra? I guess it's just I don't dislike the city. I've had some very nice times in that city. I watched an arm wrestling contest for a cheesesteak in that
That's
city.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to find that in too many other places.
No. Yeah, it's a pretty cool city. It's just, people from there can be annoying sometimes.
It has to do, I think, for me personally, with sports fans or sport fan in this case. There's one particular fan of all things Philadelphia sports that's so goddamn annoying that I take it out on the entire city. Same though, I've had mostly good experiences with Philly.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, it's just sometimes one bad duck can spoil the flock, huh?
Yep, that's right.
The old Philly saying.
Yeah, and I mean, birds of a feather, so it's kind of guilty by association for the rest of you.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I don't think anyone can seriously defend Philadelphia fans.
I don't even know that they can.
No.
That's that is one thing that I'm jealous of in a weird way. Just to not care what anybody thinks of you to that level.
Right.
Like my entire opinion of myself is based solely on how other people react to me. Right. So I'm the furthest other end of the spectrum.
I mean, I'm kind of, I understand on certain things, especially with physical appearance and how I dress. I could give a shit. Like, you could judge me for whatever. I'm comfortable. Right. But when it comes to the people that are like, hey, I'm brutally honest. They tell it like it is and blah, blah, blah. If you don't like it, then this, that's how I am.
Yeah. That's
code for I'm an asshole and I don't care. Because you can be regular honest. You don't have to be brutally honest. You could say, I don't really like that. Instead of saying, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. You don't have to go over the top. You could still be honest and not be an asshole. That I never got.
There's a spectrum. There's a big spectrum of how you can be an asshole. There's a lot of different layers. Subtle is fantastic.
Yeah.
When you're not sure if the person's being an asshole to you or not, that's kind of right where you want to be. All right. Well, thanks, Curtin Ryan. That was very nice. And lastly, Carl Havoc on Instagram writes, I like the show. I didn't say it was funny. I said it was interesting. Very nice. Good start, Carl. I just listened to your Flat Earth episode and had a question regarding one of Charlie's questions. He was asking about the sun and moon looking larger and fatter on the horizon than looking smaller as it gets overhead, but it sounded like you didn't agree with him. if that's not actually the case, then I don't want to be around anymore, and I'm ripping the fucking head off. Well, thanks, Carl.
The chin kills.
It does.
Yeah. You don't know.
Yes, the chin does kill. It actually does. It's quite heavy. You don't know.
Yeah. So I misunderstood that question at the time because I was, I guess, angry and drunk and trying to plow through it. Hopefully, if nothing else, this episode we might I don't know, respond to each other better instead of I didn't understand what he said, so I'm going to say what I want to say. I might stop and go back. But when the sun or moon are completely visible above the horizon and you got the full circle, and if you're measuring with the ruler from your eye, it's about an inch, you're half an inch up from whatever the horizon is. Mm-hmm. From there, that's where I was talking about. If you get a measuring device and measure that full circle versus the full circle overhead, those will be the same. Mm. But to be fair, when it's first coming up over the horizon and you can only see partial, a piece, there's a whole lot of refraction and there's a whole lot of atmosphere for that light to go through. So yes, it does appear squished, if flatter and wider. So there is a squishiness to it. The optical illusion there makes it look slightly bigger. But then once it comes up and you get the full circle, then it kind of almost snaps into place.
Now let me ask you this about that. Does the shape of the Earth affect that, or is it just horizon specifically? Were it flat and not spherical, would it look different at that point?
No, that I don't understand, because if it's flat, the sun isn't rising, so it's not like it has more. It's always going to be a similar amount of atmosphere. I mean, I guess it's kind of if it's directly overhead, there's less atmosphere than if it's slightly further away because it's coming through it at a diagonal. Mm. But it's still not nearly as much as if you're dealing with the sphere coming through the side of all this stuff versus then straight overhead. The contrast in the amount of atmosphere is going to be way different as it's coming at an angle.
Okay. That's neat. And you know what? If not for that optical illusion, establishing shots in movies to show that it is now nighttime wouldn't be as cool. With the sunsets. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm picturing Blade specifically.
Okay.
Well, the sun's going down. That means it's going to be karate soon.
That's the best thing about vampire hunters. They're big into martial arts.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to be if you're going to show that vampires are that fast and stuff. Then.
And it would be a boring movie if it was just flamethrower from far away.
I kind of want, I'd love instead of Wesley Snipes or any type of karate, I would like Robert Mitchum. So to paint a picture with him, that is the Family Guy made the joke about we now return to 1940s in shape, out of shape guy. And you see a guy walk out.
Yeah.
He walks out and he goes, "Hey, what's the matter? You got a problem?" And the guy sitting at the table goes, "I don't know. I'm going to wait until you exhale first and see how that looks." He exhales and his stomach falls out. But but yeah, guys that were in shape in that time period were just large.
Yeah.
Essentially. So yeah, that guy. I'd like to see a slow, lumbering guy in a wife beater just uppercutting vampires.
Yeah, instead of being skilled, just a big hoss.
Just a big galoot. I'm just picturing like in Double Dragon, like the uppercut punch after you do two regular ones, like that. Just lots of that punch.
His elbow to fist just gets extra big. It looks extra big. Yeah.
All right. Pitch. Pitch.
We have to make add something to make it unique, though. We're getting there. I think make it short. He's there's the king vampire, and he just punches through everything and rips his head off, and movie's over in 15 minutes. It's a short movie. Wesley Snipes didn't have to do all that kicking. He was wasting time. The efficient vampire hunter.
And he just starts off, I want to have a word with you, Mac.
Now listen here, see? You can't go around biting all these dames.
I got I have half a mind to give you a piece of my other mind. I don't know. But like that's what's great about slang from then. It's just nonsense. Like, now you're on the trolley. It's like, what the fuck is that?
That slang from any time is nonsense. I literally said bussin' this episode.
No cap.
Yeah.
Cap. Speaking of the past.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to ask you. I figured 24 minutes into the podcast is the best time to ask you, what are we doing the episode about? But it sounds like we're doing time travel.
Yeah. It does in fact.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll have the video shared. It's a bit of a long one, but it's pretty entertaining. Doesn't get it gets sciencey, but like is still like it doesn't get too dense with stuff, and kind of a lot of good visuals. This channel, and actually there's two channels. There's the history of the universe. That's the history of the universe, and then history of Earth. Both of them high quality production. They make 50-minute videos or so, and it's like documentary style. They're really, really well done. Really, and I mean some of the topics are pretty hard, but the way they lay it out, it's fairly, I don't want to say easy. It's possible to follow for some of this higher stuff. It's easier to digest.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You're not going to get brain indigestion from this stuff. If that's a thing. I like how many paradoxes there are with time travel. I don't know if that's where you want to start but
I think that's the coolest part of it. I mean, all the other stuff in the video is kind of special relativity based, and there's other. Well, first the idea of 4 dimensions. This is 3 of space and 1 of time, and I think one of the things that the video talks about, which may not be true, but if you were something that lived or was observing our universe from outside and looked in at all 4 dimensions, there's the 3 of space and 1 of time. They exist at the same time. Like if you're outside looking in, the Big Bang is over here and heat death is over here on the other side, and you can see them at the same time because that's just the dimension that there's drawings of it too that show like when the universe is at a point and then boom, blows up. But so the idea that going back in time or forward in time is possible because every moment actually is happening all the time. It's right there. We're already, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like the fact that I can be saying a fact about this theory anyway is that everything never isn't happening.
Right.
And that's yes, correct. It's like
right.
Yeah, like the river example, which just I forget whose original idea was that, but it was that time is like a river, that the past doesn't just simply disappear behind you. It's always there. It's just like much like trying to figure out how to go against the flow of a river, you would they're trying to get to the bottom of going against that. And simulation theories would have you believe probably that as soon as you get past a thing, whatever is being simulated potentially ceases to render behind you and just kind of fall off, or at least that's the visual I get from a specific Rick and Morty episode.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can get time away from your children, definitely give that show a watch, because like I'm gonna get so many shits better now.
Okay.
From you teaching me stuff. Like Eric
Oh, really?
Chapman got it.
It's
Yeah, it's
okay.
very science heavy.
Ah, yeah, I never knew that. I mean, again, I can't. All right, kids, go to bed. Dad's got to watch a cartoon.
But yeah, time. So, what was the term for everything's happening all at once, like the philosophical term?
Block universe.
Oh, block universe. Yeah. That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but that is also part of that thing. Like, not eventualism or something like that, or eternalism, right?
Oh, okay.
Eternalism is part of like the block universe idea. Like, there's similar ideas that everything's kind of
that everything exists always, like you said.
Yeah.
Everything never isn't.
Yeah. And
but that has implications on free will. Like, if that universe exists at all times, both front and back, every decision you think you're making was already made. It's already there. You can step back and see.
Yeah, like that's a, like, anytime people bring up like, could time travel be real? What if they figured it out in the future already? Even if they did, it doesn't matter that they figured it out, because whatever they're gonna have done to intervene, they've already done.
Right.
Like, there's already been stuff like in Back to the Future. Like, there was never Doc Brown didn't get shot by the Libyans in the first place.
Right.
But that paradox of him going back and affecting things. What is that? Which one is that one again? Is that the restoration?
I think that's no, I think that's more the bootstrap paradox.
Oh, okay. Right. Who initiated it, which is essentially chicken or the egg argument for time travel.
Right. Yeah, and I think it comes from if you were stuck on a fence, trying to climb a fence, and you get stuck on the top, can you reach down, grab your own bootstraps, and lift yourself up and over the fence?
Okay.
Like, it doesn't make sense to actually do that. You need something else. I mean, that's a better example of that is Terminator. Terminator 1, the Arnold robot goes back to kill Sarah Connor before she has John Connor.
Mm-hmm.
The dude that comes back ends up being John Connor's father that was sent back by John Connor in the first place. So you get a loop there.
Kyle Reese giving Sarah Connor some of those Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, I know we're being chased by this murder robot, but it's been about a day and a half since, and we gotta do something.
I know it seems like instantaneous to you, but it has literally been 50 years since I've done this.
Right. I haven't even seen a live woman. But Skynet wouldn't have been invented if Kyle Reese didn't crush the Arnold robot, and then Skynet got its hand and chip. Right. Because that was in Terminator 2. They got it from Terminator 1, and that's how they built Skynet, off of that technology. So there's a paradox right there. When did it start? How did they get that technology to build the AI, to build these robots, to send one back in the first place, just so that they can get the technology from that robot they sent back to start this new company, to blah, 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 and then you get...
Yeah.
That
was always confusing. And then I don't remember the specifics of the third one, because I only watched it once and it wasn't great. But like it's still like it was always destined to happen, kind of thing, which I guess goes along with, like, so in that specific universe and in that timeline, they're trying to do something that they can't do. It's just because it's already set. It's all set in stone. No matter how many things that they do to try to alter the timeline, it just keeps happening anyway.
Yeah, that's the predestination paradox. That it doesn't matter what you do. It's like, for example, Hitler existed, so we hate that he, the Nazis killed as many people as they did. So we build a time machine and we go back in time and try to kill Hitler. that would be impossible to do, just because now if you do kill Hitler, the Holocaust never happens. You don't have a reason to make a time machine to go back in time to kill Hitler. So it kind of breaks the time loop if you try to do that.
Yeah, it's like, well, where does the motivation come from to do that in the first place?
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, so then you never had the motivation, so you never go back. So actually, you never kill Hitler, and then he's alive, but then you have to build one and go back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what example I had. Never mind.
12 Monkeys is another good one.
Oh yeah, that's a great example that it didn't matter.
Right.
Everything that you do doesn't matter. It's very nihilistic approach.
Yeah.
To time travel. It's like whatever you do doesn't matter. So just
and again, free will becomes an illusion because it's predetermined what's going to happen. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's all scripted.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the to go back to the video for a second. Just the so the video gives an example of a guy getting saved by his older self who's gone back in time and handed him the guy gets a note from himself and is telling him to study physics, and that starts the whole, well, where did this all come from? But just the visual of that incident happening over and over again. Old guy saving younger guy from getting hit by a car. Younger guy gets note, and it's just the same note being passed, and just that note aging
right
the whole time. Like that's a really neat visual. I don't know that I've seen that in any movie or like where there's a time loop thing, and just the object that's living through everything just keeps getting older and older.
Yeah. That's the only thing. Or when it goes back in time, that's the restoration paradox, though. That does it ever get worn out? Like, does it ever get to a point in this infinite time loop where the guy can't read it? Where it's like, this has been smudged and ripped and tatted, you know?
Yeah, it does. Like because the guy doesn't get younger when he goes back in time.
Right.
So
the letter is like in its own time stream,
and I guess that's the dispute. Like, I feel like, why wouldn't the letter get older? Because the only reason the guy keeps happening is because he keeps going back, but he keeps going back as older.
Yeah. But now we're in an infinite time loop. So this is another paradox that kind of ties in. That story at the beginning of the video is really cool, just because it illustrates like five of these paradoxes. How do you pluralize paradox? Paradoxes.
Paradoxes is
yeah. So p. They illustrate all five of these pretty well, but the ex nihilo, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I wrote that
properly.
one down, and I probably would have gotten thrown out of the same spelling bee as
nice
as well. I do have a lot of S's and P's, as you just said.
Right. But so now we're in this infinite loop where this letter keeps making the rounds and getting older and older and older. But if it's infinite going one way, it's infinite going the other way. Who wrote the letter? When was it new? What was the first? Like this letter that's been passed, that's been so important to this guy's life, doesn't have an author. The young guy keeps getting it from the old guy, and the old guy keeps bringing it back and handing it to the young guy.
Yeah. Right. It's like the old guy writes it in the future. But somebody had to have written the first one a first time.
At some point, yeah.
Because the guy wouldn't know to write the letter to himself if he didn't get saved by the guy.
That's right.
It just, every time travel movie up until certain points just kind of has all those paradoxes that I guess they don't necessarily address like the fact that you can alter timelines and
Mm.
stuff like that, or not alter the one timeline, but like and I guess the first one to really demonstrate an alternate timeline, at least the best one, it might not be the first one, but was Back to the Future 2. Like that was the first time that, let's see, probably like 9 or 10-year-old me, not even, I think that came out in 89 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, 8-year-old me being like, wait a minute, you can alter the timeline. Shit. Yeah, there has to have been like a Twilight Zone about that. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm probably.
But to like see like
there's been books and shit like that too. And all,
yeah. But that was wild. That I remember I liked that movie when I saw it. Like I saw it in the movies, and I remember being asked how I liked it, and I was like, I was nervous through all of it. Like that. Why? That was my review of the movie. It's like I was so uncomfortable through most of the movie, just because it's very anxious. Like oh no, is he gonna be able to get the almanac back? Is he? Oh no, he dropped it off the side of the car and now it's on the windshield, and like all.
Oh no, it's Biff again.
Yeah. Like it did a really good job of creating like high stakes and potential for bad stuff to happen. But then looking at it through this, it's like, well, nope, it was always going to happen that way anyway. And it's like, well, that's no fun.
Yeah, that takes all the stakes out of it.
Yeah.
It was predetermined.
We're all out of stakes. There's no stakes left.
So, two cool, kind of related to the paradox things that I found. So the first one, the ex nihilo paradox, like aside from time travel, it kind of ruins the existence of God in a way.
Ooh.
Because so if God is, again, we were talking about this external to our 4 dimensions, whatever being. And if time is eternal outside of that, that means, there was an infinite amount of time before and an infinite amount of time after. It doesn't give God the time to create the universe, so to speak. Because if it's infinite before, where does God go? All right, at this point in infinity, I'm going to create the universe. Like, because infinite time has to pass before God can create the universe, and infinite time can't pass because it's infinite.
Wow.
It's a really mind melty kind of concept, but the idea of something that exists outside of our timeline has to be infinite in order to create something like this. Or if it's not, if God exists outside of our timeline and God also has a beginning, now you got to go up. All right, where's the God's God that created? Like it becomes like there's no room for God to create the universe as an all-powerful whatever third-party actor.
It's funny. The first example you gave said God won't have the time. So I like the idea that he's suddenly too busy to make the. I'm sorry, I have too much going on. I can't make the universe.
Well, another way to say it, I guess, is if infinite time goes by before God creates the universe, then God would not have created a universe because infinite time has not gone by yet.
Right, because you're waiting for something that does not have a beginning or an end to do either of those.
Begin and end. Yeah, exactly.
And then I liked your second example of there's no room for God. Like suddenly infinity is just like super cramped.
God is huge. He's infinitely big.
Like there's no room. We can't fit you.
He's like, hang on, I'm gonna create this other universe first. Move over.
Just look at there's room for me right there. There's room for me right there. Just let me go in right behind. You won't even know I'm here. You won't even know I'm here.
the realm of gods is like a Japanese subway.
They have a guy in a uniform just shoving people in.
Yeah. Get in there, Buddha.
Love it. Oh man, that's a shirt.
Yeah. And the other gods are like, Jesus Christ. And Jesus is like, what? I'm back here. I'm not doing it. I'm squished too.
Oh shit. I was gonna try to jump on that one, but yours is perfect. I'm not gonna mess with it. You win this Jesus Christ joke.
Sweet.
So the I don't remember what this one's called because I only wrote like half of my notes down, but
Okay.
eventually in the video they get to a point where it looks like time travel isn't possible because of all these paradoxes.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like the theory of like the time streams being forked kind of thing. It would
that gets right into Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah, like the directly out of and the new Marvel movies in general. Just like the idea that okay, so if you go back in time, the past is actually your future personally, because it's the next thing to happen is in your life is you go back to the past. So your time stream continues and kind of loops back, but that other time stream that you left continues and yours goes on a different path. Then they will never reunite again.
So, and that was the whole, excuse me. I get that was everything that happened with the, I'm still kind of rusty because I only watched Endgame the only time. But when Hulk goes back to get the, or Banner goes back to get the Infinity Stones from, or what does he get? He gets the Time Stone from,
Yeah, he gets the time one from, I forget her name, bald,
Tilda Swinton.
The ancient one.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah. So he gets the time stone from her and then has to take that back. But then the stones being pulled out of their timelines is what sends everything awry ultimately, right? Like that's kind of like the snowball at the top of the hill.
It would.
Kind of just jacks everything up.
And that's why at the end, Captain America has to go back and bring them back to the exact same locations to prevent that from happening, which kind of goes against what they said originally about you can't go back and change the past. So like those timelines already happened.
Right.
Now it's Cap's future. He's going back to these other things and returning the stones. But that's, again, a different timeline now because Cap is on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a bit contradictory.
Yeah. And then he's sitting there, old man Cap, calling, what's his face over, Falcon. He just went back and went through all these other timelines and had his life with Peggy and stuff. So he's on a complete. So he had to figure out a way to come over to this timeline again to give the shield and everything. Like there's, it kind of. If you think about it too hard, it all falls apart.
So like that example, or like in Back to the Future 2 when they have the letter that has to be delivered at these precise times at this precise date and everything like that. Like, I know how I feel when I have to keep my mouth shut about a surprise party that's in like a week and a half. Like to not like, I can't imagine holding on to a thing for 70 years to give somebody. It's like, oh my God, I'm so impatient. I it's just like, come on, 1999, get here already.
You know, it's funny. I'm the complete opposite. I would throw it in a drawer. Oh shit, that was today. I forgot. Fuck, I'm late. Get out.
But you never would be late because it's all supposed to happen
happened already.
unless your time streams fork.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when they start to branch off, then that's that's everything that we just said.
It's a whole new thing. Yeah.
I love the actual practical real world example of gravity affects time, and the further away you are from gravity, the slower time goes.
Mm-hmm.
That blew my mind, because even though it's the most minuscule example, which the example is, correct me if I'm wrong at any time, they take atomic clocks, which are the most accurate clocks you can possibly have. They're all in sync with one another, and they have some of them at one height, and then they have them at like tops of mountains or something like that, or laboratories like high up and stuff like that. And they eventually fall out of sync with the further away from the center of the mass of the Earth clocks are slower, or they're behind. So time is moving slower the higher up you are from the surface of the Earth.
Time is relative. That's Einstein's special relativity that comes into play with that. Man. Yeah, and general relativity for gravity.
Fuck! How do you come up with that?
I know.
Figure that shit out.
Right, and to do that before, like they did their measurements with the clocks, because he was like, "Here's what I think it is," and then
and like so much of. Like I don't know where the quote is or something like that. Is like science fiction comes before science fact. Like you have to think of the impossible thing, and then it's like no, let's really figure out how this shit would work. Like that's what this whole video is. It's like time travel seems preposterous, seems absolutely unreal, and then it starts like it's still the main barrier is like. I guess there's not one, there's several. Like or something to generate enough, something that's able to generate enough energy to make whatever's going to happen. Yeah, to power whatever machine or whatever to allow for travel through time. And then there's like, you kind of have to, I don't know. Why don't you pick it up from here? I'm stumbling.
Well, I mean, there's a couple, the idea of going into the future is, I think, much easier to grasp than the idea of going into the past. And part of that is the how time flows different in areas with more mass or more gravity than others. I forget the name of the movie. What was the movie where they showed the black Interstellar? I forget. It just came to me.
Yeah.
But that movie Interstellar, that was done with Kip Thorne. He's I don't want to give his title wrong, but he's a a science.
He's fucking smart.
Yeah. I don't know if he's an astrophysicist or a cosmologist, or I don't know his exact title, but he's one of those, and he's has a bunch of groundbreaking theories. Point of the story is he was a consultant for that movie, so a lot of the science in the movie was based in like pretty solid theory. So there's a point in the movie where I've never seen the movie. This is all reading about it. But whoever's the star goes close to the black hole, and he's only there for a couple hours. And when he comes out, years went by behind him.
Okay.
So he basically time traveled into the future by going into this intense area of gravity that slowed his clock down to where the rest of the universe, it did not.
And that to be able to because that actually makes sense. And technically, if you could get to a spot where you could slow it down enough, like someone like there's those twin astronauts, like they both went into space, but one stayed in space like a year longer or some amount of time longer that was significant. And now it's like he's 6 years younger or a day younger almost or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very small scale. But yeah, like you're saying, like going into the future is kind of almost actually real. Like proof.
Yeah, it's plausible.
Yeah. But why would
going into the past is the tough one.
Why would you want to? It's not like you can send your research back. Like that's.
And you don't know what's going to happen. What if you come back and it's like, oh shit, something hit the earth while I was gone, and it seems to be much further away and dead now.
And it's the end of Army, or the alternate ending of Army of Darkness, where it's just the end of the world, or it's Planet of the Apes, and there's a Statue of Liberty in the sand. You know, any of that, any of those examples.
And one thing about time travel that I don't understand. What are the spatial coordinates when it comes to time travel? Because you're saying, okay, I want to go back in time 40 years, whatever. The entire, like the Earth is spinning, the sun is going around the galaxy itself is moving.
Right.
So as far as relative coordinates go, if you go back in time to this exact XYZ axis in space, the Earth isn't going to be here. So how is that programmed in?
Yeah. How do you know where the planets are going to be? I guess like there's just like to a certain degree, there's the like that app on your phone or whatever. Like it can tell you where the stars are and where the stars were and stuff like that. But how do you apply that? I don't know. Again, I'm just an ideas guy.
But if you go back in time 12 hours to this exact spot, you're in China now because it's 12 hours is half the sun spinning. You're on the other side. I mean, half the sun spinning, half the Earth spinning.
Yeah. So then so you would.
They never cover that
in
time travel class.
And my troglodyte brain is like, well, that's got to be the easier part because you already figured out time travel.
I guess
is
so.
locking down that thing, but the that's.
But in a sense, you're figuring out time travel and faster than light space travel.
Yeah,
you're moving.
It's you got to figure out.
Yeah, the Earth is going to be in this place at this point in the past or in the future. And I'm going to not only teleport myself to this point in time, but to that point in space instantly. So if we can figure that out, let's go to fucking Andromeda.
And that's the like it wasn't Andromeda specifically. I think he might have used a made up name, but right, Carl Sagan wrote Contact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like the plot of that was aliens send us instructions for how to build a single person wormhole device, essentially, or something to propel you through a wormhole.
Yep.
Which I love when people point out, huge plot hole in that movie, that the big machine that they have that the government is working on gets destroyed by, I think, Jake Busey is the maniac actor in that, which I know, big stretch for him, Jake Busey playing a maniac. But there just happens to be a billionaire on the other side of Earth who is building this with his own money.
Right. Why didn't you ask me first? I already I was building. I made it for fun. I know aliens too. They're my own. They sent me instructions on the side. They owed me a favor.
We've been hanging out, me and aliens.
Right? Yeah.
But like, how did the ship or whatever work in that? Like, was it like how did Jodie Foster get back?
Wormhole.
But like, did it have like a timer? It's like, all right, you got 5 minutes, and then you got to be here, and then it sucks you back in, or how did she have? Like, did she have? Like, was it like Stargate? Was there a thing on the other side when she got there?
I think if I remember correct, she didn't do anything. It was like limited time because the alien presented itself as her dad or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that part.
Yeah, so it was like a limited conversation. She didn't want to leave, but then she did. But it was to Earth, everyone watching. It was instantaneous. It just looked like the thing dropped. But then she was there for however long, and it turned out they had a half hour of empty footage of the tape or something like that.
Right. Okay.
Something along those lines. But yeah, it was a wormhole. It was dropping somebody through so that instantly went to another place in space and then instantly came back. Which I think even if we were to make a wormhole, it would still take some kind of time to get through.
Yeah. What's the other movie? Event Horizon. I don't know if you ever saw that. That I don't know that they used the word wormhole specifically, but they used the example of the way the ship works is that it has a gravity drive or whatever, and then they explain it by taking a piece of paper and say, here's 2 points in space on the opposite side of the paper, fold the paper together, and then just poke a pen right through that.
Yeah.
Which is essentially a wormhole, right? Because it's folding time and space around it, not...
Yeah, pretty much.
Travel.
You're making a shortcut through space-time.
Yeah, and that's the theory, is that a wormhole would be outside of space and time.
Yeah. The thing that screws it up, though, is they can't figure out how mathematically even to keep them open.
Right.
Because as soon as you add something to it, that changes the gravity, and they become unstable and seem to collapse.
And was it like infinite speed? Or to gain infinite speed, you need an infinite amount of a power source? Kind of.
Yeah, infinite energy to get something with mass up to the speed of light.
Okay.
Yeah.
To wrap up on it,
I watched another cool video from that Sabine Hasselfelder.
Oh yeah,
however you say her name.
Her.
She wrote. She was talking about the speed of light and said it's a barrier, but there's like we say we can't go the speed of light if you have mass, but there's nothing in relativity that says you can't go faster than light. It's just you can't go light speed, which is a very interesting way of thinking about it, that it's simply that. Like, if you can get past that barrier, it might be doable.
So you can't go light speed, but there's nothing that says you can't go faster than it? Is that what you just said?
Yep. The math says once you go light speed, you get like you get an equation where you divide by 0, which is how you get the infinity number, and that's really what a singularity is. It just means math breaks down and you get an answer that equals infinity.
All right. Quick jaunt in a different direction.
Yeah.
The singularity with robots. Well, I feel like they should have talked about it first with having a singularity like the one you just brought up, and then singularity with robots, because it's confusing.
It is.
Yeah, because actually I've only ever known of the robots singularity, but I guess essentially they're both singularities in the sense that you just said. It's just that translates to eventually it's just going to be robots.
I think that's the idea there, that it's all one mind.
Right, so then it all goes back to 0 essentially. That kind of, all right.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that's a good way of looking.
Yeah, but bring on the robots, man. Bring on the robots. I was saying that to somebody the other day, about a wireless earbud or something like that. And I was like, the second there's a transplant to put a thing right in behind my ear on the base of my skull that just reverberates the sound into my eardrum from there, I'm in. Absolutely sign me up. Give me
all about it.
Give me all the parts, all the additional robot parts. I'll be half man, half machine all day.
Sure.
I'm already half man. Why not add half machine, right?
If we could replace the parts that make me pee with robot, because I'm sick of peeing. Like, it's the worst. I was sleeping.
Barely takes you any time. Your urethra is the diameter of a grapefruit.
If I still have to get up, I still have to stop what I'm doing and get up. I've been doing it now for 42 years, and I'm sick of it.
Done with peeing, man.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How do we get this back to time travel and stuff?
I would.
Event Horizon, by the way, let's wrap that up. I don't know if it's your bowl of soup. You're not a fan of spooky, scary.
I don't know it, to be honest with you.
It's good. It's fun. It's
okay.
Kind of 90s horror cheesy, but it's pretty gory. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so the reason that there's a problem with it is the event horizon disappears and then suddenly reappears behind Neptune a couple of years, like 7 or 8 years after it disappeared, and it apparently went to hell by accident. So there's like demons and shit on the ship, and the ship is possessed. It's kind of fun.
By accident. It's like, how did I get here?
How the hell? But it's neat. It's fun. It's more Lawrence Fishburne speaking cold and calmly and decisively to people. He's very good at that.
He is.
But with I guess so Rick and Morty started as a Back to the Future parody. It was called Doc and Marty, I think was the original one, and they just spelt both words weird. And then they decided we're not to do time travel specifically because it's too messy because of all this shit we've just been talking about, which is why they go with the whole multiverse type thing. Like they're just portaling from one universe to another kind of thing, timeline to timeline. And I think that fits better the like the forked time streams. Like there's infinite versions of everything happening all at once, and it's just finding the ones that I guess they can use to their advantage kind of thing.
I think it's cool. The like multiverse is now based in science or based in theory, I should say. It's not necessarily based in science, but the idea there's, like you said, there's infinite everything happening. There's also infinite nothing happening. Like there's an infinite number of universes that just can't support life, or can't support anything, creation of matter and stuff.
Like every single decision you make essentially starts a new timeline.
In theory, yeah.
And multiply that by every single person that's ever existed, by every single animal that's ever existed. Each one making a different decision, like butterfly affecting, like the smallest thing changing something back in time. Which
that stupid elephant decided to go this way instead of that way. Elephant tangent. Remember, we were saying
good band name. Band name.
Yeah. No, we were saying that there's places in the world that have to deal with elephants in their life. Like they just have to. There's an elephant. That's where he lives. I saw this. There's this road where sugarcane is delivered in trucks pretty often, and elephants, you're not allowed to kill them in wherever this place was. I have to look it up. I can't even link it, but it's against the law, and elephants figured it out. So there's this one elephant that stands in the road, so the trucks have to stop, walks over to the side, pulls off some sugar cane, walks to the side of the road, lets the truck keep going, eats the sugar cane, and then waits in the road for the next one to come. Does this like it's smart enough. It knows they're not going to hit me, but I'm going to snack on these trucks.
It's like it's like racketeering. It's like elephant racketeering.
You got to pay the toll. Elephant racketeering. There's some elephant mob boss going, oh, you go down there and you make sure no sugar cane comes across unless we get our cut.
No sugar comes into this area without me getting a trunk full.
Now I'm picturing there's some China shop in India where an elephant comes in and says, if you want protection so that your China doesn't get broken, I'm going to need sugar cane once a week. And the lady's like, I don't need protection. The elephant starts knocking shit over.
The elephant holds the door open, a bull walks in.
Right. You sure you don't need it?
You wouldn't want this bull to show up once a month, would you?
That would be a shame.
There's a guy on his knees in front of an elephant sitting on a chair. Please, I'll get some sugar cane. You just got to give me one more week.
He's got a trunk ring you got to kiss.
It's just Babar or Babar, this fucking little crown sitting on a fucking throne in a green suit.
Yeah, sitting on his butt where they sit with their stupid short legs just sticking straight out.
just arms and legs, all the legs out forward like if you have a plastic elephant, just picture how its legs would be that.
You just lean it back.
Stupid elephants. Let's see. Got anything else about time travel?
I mean, it's kind of the predestination one, but there was that auto-infanticide paradox that you can't kill yourself or let yourself die or go back and kill your grandfather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The theory is if you put a gun to your grandfather's head and pull the trigger, click, 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 it'll jam. And you point it away, bang, it'll shoot. Then you point it back, it'll jam again. Just like there's always going to be something in the way.
Like
because otherwise,
the universe won't allow it to happen. Because how could you get to the future? Yeah.
Because it already happened, so it can't.
There's an episode of Futurama. It's pretty great, where they address the grandfather paradox. Fry is trying to save his grandfather, who's a dope from getting blown up, and he gets blown up, but he's still alive and he can't figure it out. And then he has sex with his grandmother. So he made himself. He made his parents, who then created him somehow. Yeah, yeah.
That's like Back to the Future. If Marty didn't figure out a way, or if Marty didn't care, it was just like it's just kind of hot. Let's do it.
Those black and white pictures do you no justice, Ma. Oh, yeah.
Those pointy bras look better in person. That was a weird trend that everyone just had triangle boobs.
Right. Check out those cone boobs. It's weird. It looks so uncomfortable.
And painful.
Yeah, boobs.
The only other thing... Oh, sorry. The only other thing I wanted to talk about... Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was boobs. So
Finally.
No, the restoration paradox, which I think is pretty cool because it's not just to time travel. Like, this can exist in real life. It's kind of like, I don't know, just a cool thing to think about. So let's picture the original Trojan horse. I think this is a good one because it's made out of wood, and pretend that it was still around, or someone had it somewhere. But over time, a board would rot. So you fix that, repair it with a new piece of wood, and so on and so forth. Eventually, all of the wood that was originally the Trojan horse has been replaced. It rotted away and replaced with new wood. Is that still the Trojan horse? It's made of completely different stuff. It's none of it is the original thing.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that analogy with ships. I think like when they find
with
ships
a boat
and stuff like that. But
I don't know any boats' names, so that's why I tried to think of something else wood that I knew.
You're not the boatswain you once made yourself out to be. But like that, isn't that what the body does? Like, you're none of your original cells.
I guess.
I guess if the Trojan horse had consciousness, like to retain memory of itself, if it was aware of itself and could perpetuate its own memory and consciousness, I guess.
Okay.
But I guess since it's an inanimate object, I don't know.
Well, yeah. If we were completely replaced by cybernetic parts, like we were just talking about, and are you still, or if your brain, like the wavelengths or whatever the brain's function was loaded into AI, and your physical brain died, but your consciousness is now in some kind of robot, is that robot Charlie, or is it a copy of Charlie and Charlie's dead? Like,
how do you load consciousness?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess if it's because then you got to. How much of the consciousness is really your consciousness at that point if it's being operated by a computer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with all your various experiences, it's more just a data set for this machine to make decisions based on what Charlie would make going forward. But it also has your memories. Like, that computer loves your mom. No offense.
Yeah, none taken.
Yeah.
I like my mom too. I love my mom too.
Yeah.
It'd be funny to have to put a sticker on that. If you could, I'd go back in time with this bumper sticker to put on the side of the computers in computer lab in high school. So it says, "This computer loves your mom."
That's what we would use time travel for.
just being a dick. That's all I would use it for. Just little
just
things.
to chap the asses of my friends when they were younger.
Yeah, or like, you know what is that? There's jokes that I don't ever get to see the punchline for. Here, great dumb example of me being a maniac. So when I was like 18, I was doing electrical work for like a couple of months, and we were doing all these houses on Staten Island, and they're all brand new, being built, all just frames of houses, and we're running the electrical through into them. And then I started, because I'm a fucking crazy person, I started drawing in Sharpie a pentagram with 3 6s in it, and then underneath, by the power invested in me by Satan and the state of New York, I hereby condemn this house to hell. So there's got to be at least 5 or 6 of them, because I did it in a few. And
somebody definitely put that house on the market when they found it.
Yeah, and that part of Staten Island definitely got beat up by Hurricane Sandy. So I hope I didn't fucking upset too many people.
It was you.
Hurricane Sandy was all my fault. Ooh, which now I have a platform to tell this joke that I wrote 10 years ago. After Hurricane Sandy, it's like, finally something put more cars on Long Island front lawns than Billy Joel. So yeah, I'm a dick, but I kind of would have liked to. I don't know if I'd want to see that payoff if people genuinely got upset because New York and hell have some type of political alignment.
Yeah, the state of New York and hell, some kind of power invested by both.
Yeah, right. There's contracts and agreed upon jurisdictions.
If I had a time machine, I would go back in time to myself and say, like, act desperate, like, I'm here, I have a very important message, you have to write this down, you can't forget, blah blah blah. And my 18-year-old self would be like, what? And just kick myself in the balls and jump back to the future. You'd never be able to get your older self back. You could just, perpetuate the circle, but I come back to the future. Got me, bitch.
You just hand you a note, and young you opens it, and it just says "nice balls," and as you read it, just boom.
Blast them.
Just full top of foot, flat, perfect contact.
I used to work at wherever I used to work, but there was a photocopier back in the day when you were, amazed by that. I was young enough it was a retail store with a photocopier. So my favorite thing to do was photocopy my middle finger and then fold the paper up and write someone's name on it. and then come down to whoever was working there and be like, oh, like the owner's name is Jerry. Be like, oh, Jerry wanted me to give this to you, and hand it to them and walk away. They open it up and it's just, why would they?
I love that. I also love the if you see somebody like, oh, I just saw Kevin upstairs. He said he had to talk to you. He wanted me to come get you, and then you just send them upstairs, and the person's not even up there.
And they go up. Where's Kevin? Oh, he's off today. This is...
What?
Yeah.
Kevin hasn't worked here in 31 years.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I think we covered it. So time travel is absolutely real and totally doable.
Yep.
All the available tools are at your local public library.
And free will is fake. Everything you think you're choosing already happened or will happen or is happening right now.
And everything you haven't chose is also happening right now. So just enjoy whichever thing you did.
Yeah. Have fun with that. So, yeah.
Cool beans. All right. Under the Guise of Science. Guise, always spelled Guise. Under the Guise of Science at Gmail. Facebook, Instagram. Where else are we?
We're on Twitter, at Science Guys. We are on TikTok. I think it's just at Under the Guise of Science on TikTok. I got to double check because I don't know that social off the top of my head, but we're there. Under the Guise, you said Gmail. I don't think we're on LinkedIn.
I'll give you a hint. Not MeTube, but...
yes, we are on the YouTube. I forgot. Yeah, we're on YouTube now also. So I guess if you're listening to this and you want to listen to it again on a different platform, hop on over to YouTube. And
yeah, don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah. Don't forget to rate us. Yep. Do all the things that make us seem better than we are. Or
tell somebody that you wouldn't expect to like this show to give it a listen.
Yeah.
Why not?
Give it a whirl. Give it a once
and then tell someone who will definitely like it to also listen. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But just tell people.
Get the word out. Get the word out. And then all right. Till next time, fuckers.